Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Your Relationship Atlas. Today, I want to talk about three simple but effective tools to help you navigate conflict better, and more specifically, how to change what you're focusing on in your mind to hopefully create a different feeling in your body so that you can better navigate the confrontation in front of you. A lot of our conflict management skills can come across as if they are mental shifts or cognitive approaches, and they can be powerful. But when we think about long term processing, we want to also consider how involved our body is, how involved our nervous system is. So, when I talk about these three tools, they are going to be cognitive based. And my hope or my intention for you is to create a link between the shift in focus and how your body responds. Okay, let me say that again. The cognitive approach we're taking, the mental shift we're taking, I just want you to try to acknowledge in the moment what happens in your body or in your sensations when you shift from what you were previously focusing on to what I'm offering you today. That shift is what we want to focus on because when we are trying to navigate conflict better, what we are required or what is being required of us is to hold more capacity for the feeling that we currently have or reorient ourselves so that we can operate more effectively and more productively. So I'll explain that as I go through these three simple tools and what specific things that we can look out for as we make those shifts. So these three tools are very simple in nature, but can be powerful if we can return to them as often as possible in our relationship dynamics and conflicts. So number one comes from another relationship expert. This was one of the first ones that really helped me navigate things with Gabby. It's one of the things that I return to very frequently because of its rhythmic nature. The guy who made it, his name is Jason Gaddies, and he wrote a book called Getting to Zero. Incredible book, also about conflict management. And he talks about this phrase. He coins it as feelings first, facts later. As a man, I'm a big fan of the facts. I love getting to the truth of something or getting as close as possible to what that truth could be. I love uncovering that and I love doing it in efficient ways. Okay. That's my man approach. And so when it comes to a conflict, a lot of that is emotion based. And so my skill set of getting to facts isn't really super helpful because, as this statement talks about, feelings come first and facts come later. Now, when we think about an argument, maybe our most recent one or one that really didn't go well, I want you to see how heavily involved this statement is likely occurring in that dynamic. Were you fighting over who was right? Were you fighting over what exactly was said? Were you fighting about who is right, who is wrong? Were you fighting about the accuracy of how we depicted the events that had just happened? Are you handling the facts before you handle the feelings? Now, this is going to correlate with another conversation we're having in here, which is another tool. But when we're looking at the feelings first, what we're trying to acknowledge is their experience and how they are experiencing what had just happened. What's the feeling there? Sometimes I really I bother Gabby with this sometimes, but because I'm an efficient person and I'm also looking to get to the root of understanding now instead of get to the root of the facts, I actually challenge her sometimes. I say, I hear you. How does that make you feel? And she gets back into some facts, and I say, I hear you, but I'm not hearing a feeling. I want to understand how it made you feel. And when we can get there together, we can better understand each other because I don't know that she feels hurt. I don't know that she is feeling sad. I don't know if she is feeling attacked. I don't know that. But once I do know that, it completely changes how I feel about the scenario. And it also changes how well I'm able to connect with her. Because prior, we were fighting about the facts, and the facts aren't human. The facts are just facts. They just are. They just live. They just breathe or nothing. But the feeling is such a human scenario that when she shares, I feel hurt right now. I'm taken aback. I said, "Oh, wow, hurt. That's sounds tough. Can you tell me more about the hurt?" And it creates a higher level or a higher chance of getting to curiosity. Tell me how that made you feel. More curiosity. So feelings first, facts later. What feelings also allow us to do, if we finally get to the point of prioritizing them after we've thought about the facts for a little bit, is it helps us realize that the person in front of us is our partner, that it's somebody that we give a shit about, that we care about, that we don't want or we don't intend to make feel a bad way. But right now they are. And so that's the reality we want to focus in on, is their feeling and deal with the facts later. If we can be reminded of this tool as often as possible, it can be difficult, but if we can get there, then we can also get to the second tool, which is dialing in on the impact over your good intention. I've made an episode about this. I believe it was episode 2 or 3, but I'll double down on it here because I think it's huge. I want you to imagine that you walk into a bedroom and there is a pillow on the bed. You're feeling angry, so you punch the pillow. When you're done, you look at the pillow, and sure enough, there's an imprint of your fist on the pillow. That would be intention meets impact. I meant to imprint the pillow because I was angry. I punched it. I meant to do that. Okay. That's a clear example of intention meeting impact. Where it gets sticky in our relationship dynamics, and this can be with any relationship, not just intimate, is when we don't mean to imprint the pillow. And then we spend more time trying to protect ourselves by fighting for the fact that we didn't mean to. So take the same scenario. We walk into the bedroom, there's a pillow on the bed. We are angry, but we don't mean or don't want or don't intend to touch the pillow at all. And yet, when we walk towards the bed, we slip, our hand hits the pillow. We get back up, we look at the pillow, and sure enough, there is an imprint there. If I were to talk to the pillow and say, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that," does that mean the imprint is gone? That it's just not there? No, it doesn't. So fighting for or arguing about what I intended to do doesn't remove the reality that I've imprinted something, that I've impacted something. And so when we talk about feelings first, facts later, that's an example of impact over intention, right? Because my impact is how you feel, how you're feeling right now, how are you experiencing this? The quicker I can get to that, the better, right? The quicker I can get to how you're feeling, the better. The quicker I can get to understanding the impact, of what I was or what you're experiencing, the better. Now, I say the word quicker because as we practice this more, we do get quicker. We do move around and away from fighting for our intention and fighting over facts. And we do get closer and more dialed in to the feelings and the impact. And the better we get at that, the better our conflict goes. The better we are at handling scenarios, the better we are at getting into conflict and out of conflict, the better we are at going from harmony to disharmony to repair, all through practice. I want to make something clear just before I get to the final tool in this, that this is not an attempt to eradicate conflict. And it's important to understand that these are tools to help with the inevitability of conflict arising. Meaning, no matter how good you get, no matter how ahead of the game you get, and I can hear myself talking to myself here because I love an efficient process and I love getting through things quickly and I love efficiency. And so if I can make a system where I actually never have to deal with conflict in the future by doing something now or getting better at something, then all good. Like that's best case scenario. But the reality of a relationship is that it's constantly evolving, it's constantly growing, and it's constantly changing, which means what comes up may be brand new, or it may be a new version of something old. Therefore, whatever system we try to create won't prevent the conflict down the road. And that is important because conflict is necessary. Conflict creates growth. Conflict creates connection if it's handled in ways that promote that. And that's the process of, again, harmony to disharmony and then true repair. Feelings first and focusing on impact are two ways that we can reach repair and true repair quicker because we're acknowledging the person in front of us. We're trying to hear them. We're trying to understand them. We're trying to really get what's going on here. And that has the power to truly repair the scenario. And again, the more we practice it, the better we get at it. The third tool here is crucial for when we notice that we're fighting over facts or we're throwing facts around, when we're fighting for our good intentions. This next piece here allows us to communicate ourselves in ways that are not attacking, not blaming, not shaming, not guilting, and not throwing accusations around. The third tool is simply called own your story. Owning your story is a massive contributor to productive conflict. And it sounds something like this. Hey, listen, the story I'm telling myself is that you just don't really care about this. Is there any truth to that? Naturally, when we start to own our experience, it lends to curiosity because here is my take. My story is that none of this matters to you. But because I know that's my story and I don't actually have truth to that, it lends itself to a follow-up question, which is there any truth to that? Right? What I'm looking for is reassurance that my story is false. And if I don't have the skill set built yet inside of me to navigate that story, then what I need from you in this experience right now is to support me through that story so that we can continue to move forward. The story I'm telling myself is you don't care about this situation. Is there any truth to that? No, God, no. I care so much. Okay, that's really good to know. So then you can get to the next part of the conversation that is bothering the two of you, which really helps promote consistent flow in a conflict experience or conflicted experience. So owning your story. Why would we own our story? I already know the facts, don't I? Well, my feeling in my body says that's true. So isn't that just the truth? It's my truth at least. What do you mean? Why wouldn't it be true? Your story is an illusion. Your story is what you think you believe about the scenario, and that can be predicated based on your current experience, right? How you feel right now, which could be scared, anxious, stressed. Any sort of dynamic that's alive for you in your life right now can impact your story. And then naturally is your history, right? The way you were brought up, the way you were raised. So your childhood years, your teenage years, your adult years, your life experience can lend itself to a story here. Combined with your current experience, those two come together, right? And dependent on how regulated you are right now, can determine how spiked that experience it really is. And so owning our story is actually one of the highest forms of relationship success and security because it promotes self accountability and self ownership. It says, I own that this is my story and that there may not be a shred of truth in it. And I need to make that known. I feel it's important for me to acknowledge that this is my story, not that you went out of your way to make that happen or that I am some sort of piece of crap or whatever my story is, right? My story is my perception of the events in front of me. But I don't say the way that I'm seeing things is because that can still come across as attacking and disrespectful. I own my story, meaning, hey, listen, the story I'm telling myself right now is that I don't know, really, you don't really love me as much as you used to. Is there any truth to that? No, I know. I didn't think so. It was just this story that was on repeat in my mind, and I just wanted to talk to you about it. I think where that's coming from is when we went out for dinner. I knew that I was stressed. And so what ended up happening was I became a little bit hyper vigilant and I was looking for signs that you didn't love me. And I noticed that you weren't as touchy as I was hoping you would be. You weren't as physically touching as normal. or maybe not even normal, just what I needed in that moment. And what I honor is that I never actually asked for that. And I also didn't include you in what the story was that was alive for me. Maybe I was distant last night. That could be true too. I don't know, but I just know that there's a feeling in me and I want to talk about it. That's an example of working through some of the mud of owning our story, acknowledging that there are more than one truths here, and that because we don't know, this is not a position for us to die on our sword. When we die on our sword is when we tend to find problems because we are saying this is it and that's all, which is not a very relational approach. It's a very much I'm up here, you're down here approach. So owning our story can make a huge impact on the way our mind is processing this piece of conflict together. So let's reflect on the 3 tools that I offer today. Feelings first, facts later. If you want to dive deeper into that, go into the book Getting to Zero by Jason Gaddies. Tool number 2, focus on your impact more than you do on your intentions. Very similar to number 1, just language differently. And number 3, own your story. Don't project it. Don't blame somebody for it. This is something I am telling myself, and I own that. When I own that, I take responsibility for my experience, and I take responsibility for how I'm feeling based on the story. But that doesn't mean that it's any less valid or that it doesn't deserve space, because that's currently what I'm experiencing. That's currently how I'm processing this. And how I process information says a lot about who I am right now and what I'm currently going through. Bringing those 3 together, again, doesn't help prevent conflict altogether, but it helps us return to a harmonious state more frequently. Ultimately, over time, that will help us create a secure relationship, because what we're teaching each other is that this is a space where we are able to move through conflict without it deteriorating or crumbling our relationship. And these 3 ways can help us do that. I hope that was valuable for you. I hope these tools are things that you take and actually apply. Again, coming back to the original conversation here, we started at the beginning when we talked about the body. Let me finish with this quickly. When you turn your focus away from you did this, you did that, I can't believe you did that, what is wrong with you? When you take your focus away from whatever feeling is there and you bring your focus to, hey, this is my story, does your experience feel better or worse? When you are fighting over the facts and you're saying this is actually how it went and that's not exactly what I said, what feeling is there? Okay, maybe it's anger, maybe it's volatility, maybe it's aggressiveness, maybe it's explosiveness, right? What feeling is there? And then when you are able to get to a position where you then can ask, hey, tell me about how this made you feel. What is the difference in feeling? What are you feeling then? What's happening in your body then? When you go from, hey, I didn't mean to do that. No, you got it all wrong. That wasn't my intention. My intention was this. If you could just get that, then we'd be fine. When you go from that to, hey, tell me how this was experienced for you. Tell me what this was like for you. How do you feel? Oh, you're feeling hurt. Oh, wow, interesting. I definitely did not intend to do that, but I completely understand how you would feel that way. I totally get that. I apologize. When you go from I'm right to tell me more, I just want you to notice the way your body feels. Because there's a shift that happens in these moments. There's a shift generally from dis-ease to more ease. Maybe not pure ease or pure peace or no agitation at all or light and fluffy and rainbowish and unicorn like, right? Maybe not all the way there, but does the shift in focus reduce the intensity of your experience? And if it does, then that's something that you can continue to practice. If it doesn't, then that's okay, right? Maybe it doesn't the first time, but I would encourage you to try again and see what happens. And again, the hope is that over time, we've created a toolkit where we've been able to better manage the way our body responds to the experiences in life. It doesn't mean that it doesn't ever respond or react. It means that we're better at responding and staying grounded, and we're better at reacting to our reaction with a more sustainable and productive response. That's what resiliency is built out of. Difficult moments moved through well, or efficiently, or more efficiently over time. And relational resiliency is something, again, that's built through the course of going through the mud and coming back out and teaching ourselves how to do that more effectively together as a unit. And that will help us understand that this is something that's really resilient. It's got a strong backbone, our relationship. That's something that I can rely on. Well, I'm hands off at that point. There's a lot less that I need to worry about or be anxious about or be fearful about because of what we've built. And it can start with simple tools like feelings first, facts later, owning your story, and impact over intention. I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. I hope you took something from this today. Please, my suggestion is to try one or bring this information to your partner in a safe conversation, because that can also help improve the quality next time. It's not just you now focusing on the change, it's also you together focusing on the change. And that is really where the power comes in. Thanks so much for listening. This is episode 11 of the Relationship Atlas podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to get notified for future episodes that come out. If you enjoyed it, give it a rating. If you feel like there's somebody you know that would find value in this, please share that with them. And last but not least, if you're looking to take this work deeper, if you're looking to take on the process of building a secure relationship with your partner, which, as I pointed out in my last episode, really does change a lot more than just your experience, but it changes the world around you in so many impactful ways, then please reach out to me. I would love to be able to support your relationship. Go to @therelationshipcoach_ and click the link in the bio and book a free discovery call where we just connect. I get to work through some of the things with you, understand how I could help you. And we create a safe container in the right ways that work specifically for your unique relationship. Or email me directly, atlasmecca@gmail.com, and we can communicate through there. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. Talk to you soon.